Welcome back, comic book collectors and enthusiasts. My name's Brandon. You're watching M.O.N.Comics. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to all my previous subscribers and new subscribers alike. I appreciate you stopping by to check out what my channel's about. Where I primarily focus on getting books, through online services, through different sellers, because I live in the middle of nowhere, so I can recommend them to folks like you. This week's video is a completely different video than I've ever done before. I have no comics to show you, I have no recent pickups, and I have no great sellers to recommend. This week's video is about, as you could guess from the thumbnail and the title, is a collection I passed on. So before I get into this, I will say that this is by no means financial advice. It is just my opinion, how I broke this down. I am not a professional advisor for finances, and I just want to throw that out there. It seems everyone else does, so just to cover my own, but I will do the same. So about a month ago, I have a friend, a local friend, who goes to a lot of estate sales, and it was a 7:30 on a Sunday morning. I was up because my youngest daughter does not like to sleep past 5:30. So I've already been up for a while, cooked breakfast for the family, all that good stuff. So my friend shoots me a text because I said, if you're ever at an estate sale and you see any comics, please, just shoot me a text. If something ends up shaking out, I'll give you a finder's fee. So I get this text of this picture, which I'm going to throw up right now, full screen. And you can see there's some obviously decent keys that was in this picture. It was a Craigslist ad advertising an estate sale 20 minutes from me. Now, I know people say that these collections are out there. They're out there. You just got to go find them. Sure. But in my area, they don't pop up that much, let alone 20 minutes away. Estate sale starts at 10. I've known from watching other YouTubers and talking to friends that go to them that you have to, early bird catches the worm. So I asked my wife, I said, honey, do you mind if I go to this it's going to be a couple hours because I have to go and be there early if I am even going to have a shot to buy these. And I just don't know what I'm in for. And she's like, yep, go, I get it. You don't have this opportunity often. I've never asked because it never happens. So I left at about 8 o'clock, got there at about 8:30. There was already 10 people in line. I walked up to the door. There was a list. I put my name. I was the 11th. So everyone's in their cars. I don't know if anyone else is there for the comics, what else is going on. There was some fine silver there that a lot of people I thought were there for. So I'm waiting in my car, looking at the comics, trying to get a better idea of what kind of condition they are in, what prices might be like. No idea. I've never done this before, so no idea what I'm going in for. So at about 9:30, people start emptying out of their cars and walking up there. I take that as my cue to go up. So I go up, and this estate sale was a gentleman who owned a house in Maine and a house in New York, and he was just selling everything in the house in New York and moving to Maine. House, everything included. So it wasn't a sad story. Someone hadn't passed away. He was just downsizing his everything. So I'm in line. I'm kind of just talking to other people, and from what I can hear, they're all going for the silver lot. And so I find the gentleman who was running the estate sale, really nice guy. And I said, hey, can you tell me more about the comic lot? He said, yeah, there's close to 1,000 books. And it's being sold as a lot for $1,600. Oof, that was a blow. Because from the books that were just on top, you can tell that's not $1,600 worth of books. And so I just keep talking to him, like, is there anyone else that's showing interest? He's like, no, not yet. I was like, well, how does this work, if I was to buy the lot? He said, well, there's a perforated tag, and they both say the price, and if you pull that tag, you are committed to buy. And he did say that, hey, just to give you a heads up, you could be there going through the long boxes to see what else is in the collection, and someone could come up and just pull the tag, and they would therefore win it. I said, well, I've already waited this long. Time to, take my chances and stay and look. So, wow, what an experience. When 10 o'clock hit and they let everyone in, they called everyone by, their name on the sheet, and they got in line, and these people ran in furiously after their stuff. I didn't run. I just said if someone gets here before me and wants the comics, they're going to get them. So I get up there. I'm the only one looking at them. Now I want to show you, I'm going to go to some actual footage that I took when I was flipping through the boxes and also like some just still pictures I took. And I'm going to do some voiceover work, and then we'll come back here and discuss what happened next.
Okay, so this is the first box that I decided to start digging through. I noticed there's some Wolverine and X-Men. There's the first in the limited series for Wolverine, and then there's X Factor #1. Going right down, of course, I was happy to see X Factor #6, First Apocalypse. Not only in the newsstand but the direct as well. All pretty much, organized in order, from bronze up to copper and anything more modern. There was going into the X-Men, the Claremont run, and I'm looking for any covers I recognize that friends collect or I've seen online for sales, because I don't collect X-Men. I might have an X-Men key here or there, but I don't collect the whole run. So you'll hear me say later in the video that a lot of the stuff, if you're going to buy it to sell it, would be run fillers. I was looking for Days of Future Past, anything like that I know holds value, and that wasn't out in there. I gotta believe maybe at some point it was in the collection, because it was pretty thorough with the numbers in sequential order. So maybe they had them and sold them, but the big ones are out of there. So guys, in the comments, feel free to tell me if I missed anything, if you recognize any keys that stand out to you. This one obviously did pretty quick. 221, the first Mr. Sinister. Great cover on that one. So that was cool to see. I think that next one is just a great cover. I don't think it's necessarily key. I think it's just a great Wolverine and Sabretooth cover. So I just continue looking through. I could see that it's this was primarily. So what did we see? We saw the two Apocalypses. We saw the Wolverine. So that's first X Factor. So 3 to 4 keys in there that are worth more than what a run filler would. There's first cover appearance of Bishop. I know that some of these are contentious first appearances and cameos, stuff like that. I'm sure everyone sees that Polybag coming up. Good old Executioner song, Polybag. And then we start getting into, they do have, he had Giant Size X-Men 2, which you'll see me pull out here in a minute, but not 1. And I was like, well, of course they would have pulled out 1 and had on the top. It was in there. But then also, I think X-Men Annual #6, I think, first cameo of Gambit. He's not on the cover, but he's apparently in there a lot. There's the only Silver Age Cap, Hulk 182, Marvel Premiere 15, first Iron Fist. The Bruner cover, I'll talk about that later. That's really the only book I had interested in putting in my PC. I think that's first Tarantula. And then, of course, the Secret Wars 8. Let's take a little closer at the Secret Wars 8 quick. Okay, so I'm really trying to look at this. I didn't see a spine tick on it. If anyone can see one, chime in. The corners look sharp. The colors were bright and vivid. I really tried to take an extra look at this, because if I was going to, this is the best book in the collection, that I could tell. Maybe that or the 182, but pretty close. Just really nice all around. So I took that, I was like, wow. Okay, we got Marvel Team Up #15, first Iron Fist. Then we got Hulk 182. Kind of flat, needs a press. Doctor Strange #1, beautiful Frank Bruner cover. That's the one I would like to add to my collection. Marvel Team Up 141, so early black costume after 252. We got ASM 134, first Tarantula, second Punisher. New Mutants Annual 2, first Psylocke. And then, of course, I pulled out the newsstand of X Factor 6, which is first Apocalypse. Then we got X-Men 221, first Mr. Sinister. Followed right by 222, which isn't a key, but I know people love that cover. I dig that cover. And then we've got X-Men Annual 14, so Cambio or first full Gambit, whatever camp you're in. Followed by Amazing Spider-Man 156, so first Harry Osborn as the Green Goblin. Go to 257, which is first appearance of Ned Leeds, the third Hobgoblin. 258, so when the costume is discovered to be an alien symbiote. And then first Nebula, again, no boards, but all in pretty good shape. And Captain America, just 12 center. Great Kirby cover, but nothing special.
So there it is, guys. You could see from the footage, there was more keys in there than what they had pulled out. Obviously, whoever was running the estate sale did enough research or knew enough about comics to know what the big keys were, or bigger keys, but they didn't know some of the other ones, like first appearance of Mr. Sinister in X-Men 221. They had the, I think it was X-Men Annual, the first cameo Gambit. There was a lot of good Bronze Age Spider-Man, Daredevil, a big mix of everything. Not much DC. There was a small box of DC, not worth writing home about, but a good chunk of Marvel. So when I was considering buying this collection, obviously I would have just liked to buy some single books, because I hope I'm trying to make this informative and kind of helpful for anyone that might find themselves in my situation. A comic collection pops up for sale around you in a estate sale. You go there and they tell you this price, and now you're tasked with, okay, is this worth it for me? Is this manageable? So many questions pop up. But for me, at the end of the day, the biggest factor is time. That's the biggest commodity. If they're asking $1,600 for close to let's say it's 1,000 books, that's pretty good per price book breakdown. But I had to ask myself some more questions in that, is there any books in there I'm dying to add to my collection? Was there any that I really love? And the answer was no. The only book I really would have loved to have is that Doctor Strange #1, because it's a Frank Brunner cover. It's a beautiful Master of the Mystic Arts #1, beautiful Frank Brunner cover. That's the only one I really, had an interest in. Full disclosure, if I had bought that collection, the intention would have been to sell all those comics to hopefully make a profit and buy a book I did want. Let the hobby fund the hobby. So as I'm going through this, thinking about, what I would pay, because then I did find out that they would accept offers. If the sale was 10 to 2, so if you didn't want to stay till 1 o'clock when they were going to lower the price of items that haven't sold, you could leave a bid on a Post-it note and your phone number. So I had to say to myself, time being the most precious thing I have a full-time job. My wife works full-time. We have 2 young kids. I also help take care of my mother. So to sell 1,600 books would be a heck of an undertaking with time I just don't have. Heck, I barely have enough time to do YouTube, and I commit to a video once a week, which I haven't missed in like a year and a half. So I had to really think, like, what could I offer in this collection? Because I wasn't going to pay $1,600. It was not worth it for me. Now, maybe you're a single person. Maybe you're a single guy or gal. You got nothing but time. Okay, you could probably have made a little bit of money on that collection from what I saw. Not a ton. Maybe you're married without kids. Yeah, maybe you got the time to buy that collection. But if you have a very busy life, you really got to take this into factors. You couldn't be starry-eyed. And I actually was proud of myself a little bit, because I don't see collections like that pop up with any kind of keys in my areas that aren't 90s overprinted books. So I had to go in there completely level-headed and think about, how I would approach this when he said it was being sold as a lot. If they were single issues, I might have picked up a couple just for my PC, but as a lot, I had to really think about it. So at the end of the day, I looked at the books that were sitting right on top. Obviously, some of the best books, first appearance of Iron Fist, Secret Wars 8, the Doctor Strange #1, New Mutants Annual #2 with the first Psylocke, Hulk 182. So what I did is I went in to Cover Price and eBay, and I did some pricing. Now, they all looked pretty good condition, as you can see from that. They were only bagged, they weren't boarded, but they looked like they were in pretty good shape. The Secret Wars 8, which you saw the close-ups of, that was pretty dang clean. But I wasn't going to grade it. I was going to, if I wanted to profit and maximize profit, yeah, I'd have to have it clean, pressed, and graded to make much more than what I could sell it for raw. So, I had to take into account conditions. So what I did is I just said, okay, let's say everything's mid-grade, a 5.0. And I'll show you my list right here. And this is how I broke down prices. And so at the end of the day, I figured, on a safe side, those books on top could get me $5.40. And what I had to say to myself, okay, what could I offer that I would feel comfortable getting that collection at? Because not only do you have to take into account, buying the books, the material cost. All of a sudden, I'm going to need to order a ton of Gemini mailers or something comparable to ship them in. I'm going to have to order new bags, new boards. It was a lot. If I had to think about what I would probably have to pay in just shipping materials for that stuff, tape, I was probably looking around $300 maybe in shipping material, So I was thinking, what is a price I'd be willing to pay that those books on top could almost cover it, and then a few more that I found in the box could get me my money back, and then I could take my time selling the rest. The number I came up with, and call me a cheapskate, call me lowballing, but I said 650. I left a bid of 650, and I told myself if I somehow got this collection for 650, mind you, they're asking 1,600, so more than $1,000 off. That's where I would feel comfortable, because not even the books on top equaled that number. I'd have to pull some of the other keys I found in there, Apocalypse, newsstand, first appearance Apocalypse, newsstand, and the direct edition, they would have to go, which was fine. I was fine with selling more books, but that would make my time worth it, because I had enough Geminis here that I could have sold, 10 books and got them out without having to buy more materials. But then I was going to have to invest more into shipping materials. So I told myself that was a number that I felt comfortable at paying for this collection. And I left my bid, and the auction ended at 2, and I didn't hear anything. And so I can assume a couple things. Either someone went in and bought it full price, and I have a hard time believing that, because I stayed there for an hour trying to value this collection and no one else showed interest. Or they lowered it at 1 o'clock and someone else jumped on it at that point, or someone just left a higher bid than me. And then it could have come to the point where I was the only bid that was put in, and it was just too low for them to sell that, and they were going to take it to a comic shop or pawn shop or whatever. Did I feel crushed? No. I felt so good making that decision, because I was looking at realistic numbers of what it was going to cost me between time and money to make that worth it. And that's a question that if you go out and you happen to find a collection like this out in the wild, that you're going to have to ask yourself, do I have the time, do I have the money and resources to make this work? Let's not even talk about, are you going to sell them on eBay? Are you going to deal with all that hassle? Do you sell enough comics within Facebook groups or Instagram to have built your reputation up enough where people trust you to buy books from you? There's so many factors that go into just buying and flipping a collection. It's very hard to just go out and buy it and think you're going to make money off it, especially now where comic prices have come down crazy since the comic boom ended, So I left there. I didn't get it. I talked to my friend. I told him what went down. He's like, oh, that stinks. It was a whole lot. There was nothing on the Craigslist ad saying that it was going to be a one-lot thing. That's a chance I took. It was a good experience for me to go out and see that. Again, I don't see that in my area. I've never seen. Does it happen? Probably, sure, but 20 minutes away where it's really convenient. I just don't see it. But I felt really good about making the decision. I didn't haphazardly take out $1,600 and buy it and put this pressure on myself to have to sell this collection to even make my money back. The 650 was a number that I thought I could make my money back pretty quick and then take my time selling the hundreds of other comments. And a lot of them were just run fillers. Sure, there was some keys, but there wasn't, enough to really make it, meat on the bone. But guys, if you liked this video, if you're enjoying this content, this is a relatively new type of video that you probably won't see often. If you wouldn't mind hitting subscribe, I really appreciate it. I just hit 1,500 subscribers. It's surreal when milestones happen. I'm grateful that anyone hangs out with me, all of you that comment with me weekly, or just take the time to watch a video. Maybe you don't comment. That's okay too. I really just appreciate it. So if you wouldn't mind subscribing and leave me a comment, what would you guys have paid for that collection comfortably? Like, what does your time and your money and your resources allow? I'd like to hear from some others of you. Did I throw out a really low offer? Absolutely. But again, that's where I felt comfortable with being able to make it worth my time. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. I will have a regular scheduled pickup video next week from a new Whatnot seller that I bought from that was really great. I want to talk about. I got some awesome books. We're moving right into the summer. 4th of July is right around the corner next week. Love celebrating America's birthday. So I hope you guys have a great, safe weekend. Until next time, keep reading those comics.